Welcome back to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And in this case, we're talking about home ownership, taking care of artists and our musicians, and so much more. We're honored to be with Stephanie Eatherly. She is the founder and president of Nashville Industry Fund. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. You all are doing tremendous good. And let's start with a little bit of background, because you yourself, being an artist, and you also know the real estate industry and helping people to buy homes. So give us a little bit of your background and what led you to launch the organization.
Sure. So I am one of those rare people born and raised in Nashville. I have always been a visual artist at heart and also a musician. So in my 20s, I spent most of the time touring with my band in the East Coast, all around Nashville, and got that experience living in Nashville. Being able to tour around to different cities was so amazing. And I left Tennessee probably late 20s, traveled the world, got the whole experience done, ended up in San Francisco, and in 2015 landed back in Nashville, got my real estate license. So I saw this whole whirlwind of different opportunities and experiences here in Nashville.
Give us an idea, when you talk about where all this begins and then what you all do with Nashville Industry Fund. Go ahead and dive into the mission, the purpose, and give us a little bit of that background.
Sure. So we want to keep it super simple. Nashville Industry Fund, our goal is to give a pathway to home ownership for people in the music, creative, service, hospitality industry, with the idea to help keep Nashville Music City. We are such a creative town born on artists, visual artists, and musicians. And our goal is to help them create generational wealth by being able to remain in Nashville. In 2020, we all experienced a life change, if you will. And for musicians and hospitality workers, their industry was decimated. And I saw a lot of my friends, a lot of our creatives in town leaving the city because it became unaffordable, because they could not find work, so on and so forth. So at the time, I had my real estate license, and a friend of mine who was also a realtor were experiencing the same things with our clients, that they just weren't able to buy anymore. So we had this crazy idea of, how do we help them? And we thought, let's start a nonprofit to give them down payment assistance. So in 2020, the idea was born. And in 2022, the nonprofit became official, and we launched with a board of directors of 9 individuals who are passionate about this as well, and are raising funds to give actual down payment assistance. And then on top of that, doing educational courses for financial awareness, home buying 101, and the contract process from contract to closing on a house.
And we'll definitely dive in deeper on each of those. Let's back up and talk about, kind of from a broad stroke, the importance of hospitality workers, the entertainment industry professionals, and that gap that exists. Because just like you said, when you look at Nashville and the MSA, an explosion in terms of people moving there, but then what that creates in terms of affordable housing, that challenge, which is a very real challenge, is prices continue to escalate. You start, pushing people out in terms of what they can afford. And then you look at Nashville being really the hospitality, focused city in terms of all the things going on and the musicians playing. And, you think about obviously the upper echelon, but when you look at the real foundation of Nashville being Music City, it's really built on the hospitality and the professional musicians that in many cases are the ones that are struggling, just like you're talking about, to achieve that legacy, that, opportunity for wealth creation. And so talk about kind of where Nashville sits in terms of opportunities and numbers and stats, kind of paint the picture of, the why, if you will, on this side, but also that gap that exists with affordable housing.
Right, for sure. And you nailed it. It is affordable housing. It is the influx of population here. Nashville became such, I guess, a music center. I mean, starting in the 1800s, we had the Fisk Jubilee singers that created what is Nashville as Music City. And then moving forward, we were just a small town up into, like I said, 2015. I came home to a city. So it was affordable. The housing was not competitive prior to that. So I think that's what really helped Nashville become so creative, because let's be honest, it was so affordable for the starving artist, if you will. So now with an influx of population, competition is there, and it's just harder for people in that craft who do not have the 9 to 5, that, a W-2 job that is paying them. They know what they're going to get every week in a paycheck. For someone who's not on that traditional income, it's really difficult to compete with other different industries coming in and renting and buying homes. And on top of that, I think we've all seen across the US how just house prices are going up everywhere. And also, to build a house, the construction cost is higher. So we are behind on actual available units for the people that just need housing overall. So I just think, having people in each different industry, we talk about hospitality as well. Nashville's become such a huge hub for that. And we have so many restaurants opening. Well, those restaurants need workers. So it's just, we can't keep up right now. We're kind of behind.
And I think that's the challenge for the city and other cities across the nation is you don't want to lose the soul and you don't want to lose your workers at the same time. How do you take care of them? And that's exactly what we're talking about, is how do you take care of them? How do you offer the enrichment, the down payment assistance, obviously the kind of the mentorship and the guiding? Like, there's a lot to unpack there. So go ahead and start with how they find you and kind of where it starts on your end to start that process.
So with us, we definitely started grassroots. For me and our founders, who are also from Nashville, we come from hospitality backgrounds. I myself in the music industry. So it started with our friends, and people in Nashville, if you're from here, you kind of joke. It's like, if you know one person or this one musician, you know everyone. So we kind of are one or two people away from knowing majority of people in these industries. So word of mouth, also connecting with local venues. We are trying to get, a really deep relationship with the independently owned venues here. I can talk about Third and Lindsley all day. We love them. They're one of the last remaining local venues. So getting those relationships with the venues, the restaurants, musicians, and different organizations that are also in the arts, in music, and helping people. It's right now very grassroots, word of mouth, and then also just talking about it. So spreading the word, and can talk about other things that we have planned for 2024, which will be really exciting to get our name out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of this interview, right? Is to help get the word out there and spread the word. But just like you're talking about, when you talk about the venues and the restaurants and those locations, it's a great avenue for them to further deepen their relationship with their employees, and obviously with those, the talent that are coming in. And so, I think all of this is everybody kind of working together with the same higher purpose. And so talk about, once you connect in, kind of where it starts on your end with the education side, the down payment assistance. Kind of walk us through how that process evolves.
Sure. So we're trying to keep it super simple and accessible. So if you go to our website, nashvilleindustryfund.org, we have a sign-up list, and we offer 3 monthly classes. So one each month of the first-time homebuyer class, our financial awareness class that can go back, even if you're in high school, you can start this to understand how to put your money together to look for the future. So you can start with the financial awareness to home buying 101, and then the other classes are basically contract to close, which is actually walking you through the process. So again, that is taught by a wonderful volunteer of ours, Samantha Wilson. We are so thankful for her time, and she offers them monthly online. So it's super accessible. They're free. Anyone can sign up. And then from there, we will be launching this year, hopefully in a couple of weeks, our down payment assistance. And that is in form of a grant. And there will be an application process. So kind of like a scholarship, you can apply, and we will offer one quarterly right now. And as we fundraise, we want to offer 4 quarterly, 5 quarterly, and have it unlimited. Would be amazing that anyone who actually does qualify can get these funds.
You mentioned goals. What are some of the goals for 2024?
So right now, again, we've raised enough to give away 3 of our down payment assistance grants. So our goal is to give those away and help 3 musicians, creatives, hospitality workers get in their first home.
When you look at some of the main pieces from the educational side, give us a couple of teasers or certain things that, especially from you and your background, that you think, hey, these are important things to know for first-time home buyers in terms of setting themselves up for success.
Sure. I think the hardest thing is just to talk to friends about their money. That is the first and foremost. Is if you are not, again, a W-2 worker, you don't have that traditional income, is how are you reporting it? Let's look at your taxes and how are you showing the establishments that are going to loan you money that you're making what you say you make. So a lot of that is practical, step by step. Let's write it in your tax form. This is what you can write off. And our tax professionals and our volunteers can help you step by step to see what you need to write off, what you need to report to set yourself up. Again, we want to offer these for someone looking 2-5 years down the road. So if we start now, we can connect you with lenders or banks who can either help you report your income correctly or look at different types of loans, which I don't think the normal first-time home buyer knows to shop around to talk to different banks or lenders, that there are options other than your typical FHA conventional loan through ABC bank or mortgage company.
And you bring up a good point around, others are going to rely on the information provided. And so you have to be able to tell that story. And just like you said, accurately. And, this is the income you're making to show that, hey, you're good for this loan, but it's on you to create a track record of success and putting in, the real metrics in terms of what you're earning and, and being able to articulate that story to the lender. And I think that's something that, to your point, looking ahead at what that means for your future and your ability to get a loan to buy a home is something really important to start planning today for. Carry that into then the ways that the community can help your efforts, because obviously fundraising is a piece of this, but how can the community get involved, spreading the word, getting involved with donations? How can we help?
So we have found that our events that bring people together between networking and music events have been huge. So we are actually connecting with some other local radio stations to hopefully do a battle of the bands. That's bringing people out. That's fundraising. That is networking with, it could be, our volunteer realtors or mortgage lenders, meeting those musicians to make those connections. Our networking events that we also will have quarterly that are free to attend if you're a member, or you can pay $15-20 and come to a happy hour. Well, there are going to be filmmakers, there's going to be songwriters, there's going to be bankers. So being a part of that community and making those little connections, and that's what's been so successful for us, is meeting with, and the Nashville Chamber has hosted many happy hours where we've met the people who run different venues, different restaurants, and coming together in one place and talking about it. And I know that sounds kind of broad, but what is probably my most recent favorite meeting was at one of those events, meeting a developer. And a lot of outsiders might look at developers or realtors and be like, you're the bad people. What I found is they're the most supportive. And we are trying to figure out a way to implement this affordable housing aspect into the building. And we've taken that to the mayor's office. And our mayor is so excited to hear what's going on in this community of, again, practically putting on paper how to build this affordable housing. So making those connections. And I know it's very broad in that aspect, but just talking about it has been huge.
How has all of this kind of, lit a fire for you? Because obviously your passion carries through, but how has all of this kind of changed the way that you view your ability to create change and make a difference? Or how has it made you stronger on your end, going through all these lessons that you're learning, creating this organization and doing what you do?
Sure. I think I've been a part of other nonprofits in the past that are very different to this. And, not everyone's really excited about it. Like, okay, that's great. Go do your thing. I've not met one person in talking about this project that was not excited, that was not like, this is such a need. Why has no one thought about it? So I think it is unique in that there's no other organization that exists like this. To my knowledge, if there is, we want to meet them. We want to be a part of that. And we can only, be successful together.
Well, you mentioned it before, but go ahead and mention again your website, social media. Where do we go to learn more and get involved?
We try to keep it simple. So www.nashvilleindustryfund.org, on Instagram at Nashville Industry Fund, and Facebook as well at Nashville Industry Fund.
Well, Stephanie, thank you for all you and your amazing team do. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.